Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good night. So thank you for joining me, all of you that can, and all of those that will be watching on the replay. I appreciate your engagement with these live Facebook live sessions as I talk and rant and share some of my thoughts with you all. Today I had a few things in mind that I wanted to discuss. I wanted to talk about some energetic developments that have been happening, and perhaps you can relate as well. While I'm on that, I'll mention that we just started the first day of the sign of Aquarius, okay? So I'll talk about that more in a second because I feel like it might be related to how I'm feeling today and how I've been feeling for the past few days. And I wanted to talk about some other things that are on my mind in relation to my work and some things that I've been thinking about in connection to insight versus healing. Okay, so I'll talk about that. But the first thing that I want to talk about actually is Goddess Quan Yin. And I've been wanting to talk about her for some time, maybe about a week. She's been coming up in my mind to discuss, but sometimes I overthink things, I'm still dealing with that. Sometimes I overthink things, and I was like, well, maybe I could talk about something else first, but I think it's the time because she's been coming up a lot for me in many different ways, but I think I'll talk about my experience with her first because it's really cool. It's really interesting. I actually had a dream, and I'm not sure if this was last year or the year before, but I think it was last year. But I'm not positive. I did have a dream with her, but the dream started off actually. I was in some building, I was in some area. In dreams you end up in these weird places. But I was in some area, some building, and I actually came across someone that I follow on Instagram and I actually have her as a friend here on Facebook. I came across her, and she follows me as well, and she's beautiful regardless, but in this dream she glowed and she radiated. She looked like a goddess, and she looked beautiful. And my nose is itchy for some reason. Let's itch that. She looked like a goddess, and it was wonderful. And what I saw also in this building were animals. So there were dogs, and some of the dogs were kind of sad, Some of them felt really emotionally weighed down, and one of the dogs was sad, and I could hear in the dream that he's sad because he couldn't find his owner. And I thought to myself, I feel so bad for this dog and I want to help him. And then it was at that point that the woman who was in the dream told me, your mission in this lifetime will be to help animals, and you'll notice that at some point they're just going to start talking to you. So I was like, okay, that's really cool. So then the dream shifted, and before I know it, I'm sitting in this room, and there before me is Goddess Quan Yin. And I knew it was her because, in these dreams, you just have the knowing of what's happening. And Goddess Quan Yin was sitting before me, and she was lying down. Beautiful, beautiful energy, really sweet. But she also, it's interesting because she almost had a hipness to her too. Like she seemed almost like she's really hip to what's going on right now. She's very aware of what's going on in our world. So she didn't feel old, she didn't feel like this kind of granny. She had a very youthful, up-to-date feel to her. So her and I were talking, and it was amazing. What she did was that she took me through one of my past lifetimes in Egypt, okay? And we were discussing some things. And she was telling me about one of my past lifetimes in Egypt where I kind of messed up. She said something to me about one of my past lifetimes in Egypt, and she showed me kind of like an abstract image of what my energy looked like. Hi, Crystal. She showed me an image of what I look like, and she was telling me that something was off in this area, okay? But she told me that even though it was off, as a reflection of my past life in Egypt, it's going to be opening up for me now. So this was something that she was working with me, and she was working with me on, and she was letting me know. And at that point, we were discussing some things, more things about it. I can't remember everything. But then as I was leaving, I was telling her, Quan Yin, I want to help. I want to help. And I'm not sure how. She said, don't worry, I'll help you. Just make sure you put me in your policy. So I thought that was really interesting. So from there, when I woke up, it was amazing. Like, my heart felt so touched by the energy of Quan Yin. And ever since then, I felt a really strong connection to her. Now, I've had a statue of her on my altar for years, probably for about 5 years now. But the connection was really strengthened by the emergence of that dream. And I knew from then on she was really going to be a very loyal partner in helping me on my journey of spiritual growth and service to humanity and to all the creatures of the earth. So now what's really cool about Quan Yin is that she is known as the Bodhisattva of compassion. And now originally, from what I understand, the concept of this Bodhisattva, originally the idea of this was Avalokiteshvara, who was supposed to be one of the disciples of the Buddha, who was originally a man, actually. So the original concept of this Bodhisattva was actually male, okay? And then when you went further east, the idea of compassion was associated with a woman, but the name Avalokiteshvara is supposed to be the one who hears the cries of the world, okay? So, I'm not sure who's tagging me in a comment, but anyway, I just wanted to give you that little background. I just thought that was interesting, because, you think, well, through history, it's always been a woman, but the original idea was male-oriented, and then later on and over time and going further to the east, the idea of compassion, or the principle of compassion, became more associated with women. So then we got Quan Yin. But one of the things that was confirmed for me with this dream that I had with her, because I thought it was interesting that she was taking me through one of my past lifetimes in Egypt, but apparently she's considered to be one of the lords of karma. Okay, so you might want to look that up a little bit, but it seems like she can help with balancing karma or helping you to get through karma, and she seems to be on the karmic board, and these beings, I think, are supposed to help with balancing out the flow of karma in the universe. I don't know how to verbalize it exactly. Probably should have went through that before I started talking about it. But I speak of things through experience, so it's not so much about what I'm reading. The reading confirms it, and then, But yeah, so I highly recommend working with Quan Yin, because I feel like she can help you with getting through any karmic issues that you may be dealing with. And she can help to clear the karma for you. Not necessarily do it for you, but help you in your journey of clearing something that is obstructing you. In divine timing, of course. And she's also really, really gentle, really understanding. And she really can help you with having compassion for others, but she also understands that the main person that you have to have compassion for before you have compassion for others is yourself, okay? So she's really good at helping you to not be too hard on yourself and helping you to cultivate this compassion from within first and then let it spill over into the outside world. I mean, that's how everything works, okay? So one of the reasons why I feel like it was the right time to talk about this is because one of the developments that's been happening with me is that I have found myself in a space where I have an increasing sensitivity towards animals, okay? And I feel that Goddess Quan Yin is assisting me in this part of my journey. Because besides this dream that I had, I've been hearing for years that I'm supposed to be helping animals. And it's not that I didn't care about animals before. I mean, I've always liked animals, but I never really felt the call to really do something in a practical sense. I just liked animals. But now it seems at this time, within the past few days that has really emerged for me, and it's really strengthened. So I feel that this is a reflection of something opening up for me in an energetic sense related to what is called the Earth Star chakra, okay? Now, I also had a dream where I was told that this chakra would be opening up for me, and I do feel like it's opening up, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why now there's extra sensitivity towards animals and really wanting to contribute and help them. So with the Earth Star chakra, it really helps you to connect to the vibration of the planet, okay? And as you know, the planet also holds a lot of information. So a lot has happened on this planet, and this planet has gone through a lot of cycles. And let's just say too that our planet hasn't always looked the way that it looks now. And I'm not talking just about houses and things. I'm speaking of like dimensionally, okay? Besides the physical aspects, energetically, it hasn't always felt the way that it feels now. The planet has gone through a lot of cycles, okay? And all of that stuff is stored within the earth, okay? So when we connect to the physical planet, and then we also connect to the electromagnetic frequencies and the vibration of the planet, we can tune into this information, okay? But also when the Earth Star chakra opens, it helps to put you in touch with the vibration of the planet and all of the creatures that live on it, okay? So this is exactly what I'm feeling right now, is this sense of attunement with the earth that I've actually never felt before. And it's different than just wanting to be in nature. It's wherever I am, it doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing, there's always this sense of connection to the vibrations of the earth. And I almost feel called in a way to go to certain sites or locations to feel the energies a bit more in these places. Now, if that's going to happen, maybe it will, but I don't know. I'm taking things one step at a time. But the energy that I'm feeling is something that I've never felt before when it comes to the planet. And I think it's very interesting that now we're entering the sign of Aquarius, which is a humanitarian sign, and I've been having these feelings for the past few days. So it seems like it would be a very appropriate time to start exploring that. And also for you, if you are a person of service and you're a person who wants to give back, the time frame of Aquarius is really good for focusing on that, for focusing on giving back, for focusing on doing things that are charitable, that help your fellow brother or sister or dog or cat or whatever. It's a really good time to give from your heart and give from a space of selflessness. So I think it's very interesting. And I've noticed too that with the beginning of this Aquarius time period, that there's an increased amount of clarity, and I feel, this is just what I'm feeling, I feel like I'm a little bit too tired to really go over like what's actually happening in terms of the entire planet's astrological shifts and how it's affecting our planet, because what has come with the sensitivity with animals is that I don't feel right about eating meat right now, so that has limited my diet even more. So I'm like, oh my god, like that low-pitched hum that you hear, like when like you want to eat, but then at the same time you don't know what to eat. So it's a really weird transition. But like I was saying, with this time that we're in with Aquarius, there seems to be an increasing amount of mental clarity, and I feel very much that with this time period, there's going to be an increased amount of not just clarity, but seeing things in a different way, seeing things in a way that we haven't seen them before, and having like a change of perspective, like maybe seeing the flip side of something or seeing something from a different angle. Okay, what I've been feeling personally is that the things that have been kind of hanging off the side of me for some time, that are fear-based, things that I have been having a hard time letting go of, seem to be clearing out now. Okay, because there's some things, I'm not sure if you guys go through this too, you probably do. I think everyone goes through it at some point on this journey, where there are things that you're afraid of and you're tired of being afraid, but you also know that if you stop being afraid, you're not safe anymore. You know what I mean? So I was feeling that maybe about a week ago, but now I'm in a state where I feel much more strong in my center. I feel like I'm ready to stop being afraid, and I feel like I'm in this state where it's much easier for me to navigate through these fears and stay grounded in the midst of it, which is really good, because I feel like if I can move past these little things, it would be monumental for my development, as it would be for any of you. If you move past your fears, it's amazing for your growth, because what you see as a small step is actually really big. Like little baby steps, I mean, they're baby steps to us, but on an energetic level, they clear up so much and they let so much light in. Okay, so that's part of what I'm experiencing. So sensitivity to animals, not really being able to eat the same way, and I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have dairy, even though I love dairy. I love cheese, and I can't have it the way I want it. So there's that. So my diet has really been limited, and my head's kind of fuzzy because of it. So there's that, wanting to be more giving to animals and feeling connected to the vibrations of the planet. And I can't help thinking that there is something coming. I can't help but feel that there is some sort of shift on the way, either a shift in perception that leads to a physical change, but I really do feel like there is the start of a new beginning. And I feel like, I mean, that's such an overused term, but there are many new beginnings that can start on different levels of your life. But this to me feels like an adventure. It's a new adventure, and it's really exciting. So it's really cool. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you all as well is something that's been on my mind for some time, and I've noticed it in my work for years as a reader and as a healer. One of the things that has come to my attention is that what a lot of people desire these days when it comes to spiritual work seems to be more focused upon gaining psychic insight as opposed to healing. Now, of course, I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that want to heal, but it seems to me that what people really want is reassurance that everything is going to be okay. So typically what people will do is that they'll go to a psychic or a reader, intuitive, whatever, and they'll have this person confirm for them that everything is going to be fine. But you know, I feel that at some point we need to realize that we can't keep going to people to confirm that everything is going to turn out fine. Okay, I mean, I feel like at times it can offer comfort, it can offer insight, but I feel that it stifles our growth if we keep going to intuitives to get answers all the time. And we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we really want out of life? And do we really value the spiritual realm? Do we value the spiritual work? And you know, I think there are some people that do, and I also think that there are some people that don't. Because I think that for some people at the end of the day, it's just about getting the answers. I remember there was at one point when I was doing a session for actually it wasn't my session. Yeah, because this wouldn't fly with me. But I was actually working at a spiritual bookshop, and one of the people that signed up for a reading with someone had come back and told me that they were dissatisfied with the reading. Okay, and what she told me was, you know, I'm not looking for a counselor, I'm looking for a reader. And I was like, okay, you know, I understood it, but then at the same time, it kind of annoyed me because it showed me that there really are some people out there that don't want to grow. They just want information, which says to me that they don't actually value what it is that we do. They don't value the work that goes into it. They don't value the sacrifices that need to be made. And there are sacrifices if you're going to be a clear vessel for divine energy and your higher self. There's sacrifices that we need to make for that, okay? And I feel that it's important for people to realize that, you know, it's not just about getting information. You know, and I blame the media for that, for portraying intuitives in a certain way. But, I mean, you know, it's really important that we start seeking answers from within and stop having to rely on outside people to confirm things for us. Sometimes, honestly, we just need to let life play itself out and learn through the experience. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just need to be able to let go and to allow things to evolve and to unfold, okay? And in the midst of that, we can learn how to get in tune and get in touch with our feelings in the midst of these situations. Now, at times you may feel overwhelmed with fear. You may feel overwhelmed with anxiety, and that's fine. That's part of the process. You know, these are your body's natural reactions. Part of it is conditioning too, what we grew up learning and being exposed to, that we have to come out of. It's a kind of conditioning that we're under. And the only way that we're going to be able to learn that these reactions are just reactions, they're not necessarily indicative that they're not indicative of the result of a situation or an experience. Once we learn that, I forgot where I was going with that, but we need to learn that they're just reactions, you know? The only way we're going to be able to learn that is if we allow ourselves to feel it and to see how a situation evolves. And we see that there's nothing to be worried about. But we can only truly learn that if we go through it and we experience it. We're not going to be able to learn that if we keep going to an outside person to confirm for us that we have nothing to be afraid of. Because, you know, I feel like this is something that I've had to learn too, actually pretty recently, is that if we try our hardest to make sure that everything is going to be okay before we get into a situation or before we move forward, we're still operating out of fear, okay? One of the things about being intuitive or following spirit is honestly being able to surrender and be in the unknown. That's part of the process. So, and also being in the unknown, but knowing that your feelings or your intuition, your impressions, you have to allow that to guide you, even if you don't know logically what's going to happen or what's going to take place. But if you get an intuitive impression about something, that's what's guiding you. And typically that comes from your heart, okay? So if we get an intuitive impression about something, we get a gut feeling, which is connected to the heart, we have to trust that, okay? And we're not going to be able to necessarily have confirmation of that each and every time before we get into a situation, okay? And if we do need that, we have to realize where that's coming from. You know, it's coming from a place of fear, and we're trying to make things logical, and we're trying to understand it first. But if we're going to truly grow, we have to grow through our experience of life, okay? And we have to be willing to release that grip on needing to know that everything's going to turn out exactly how I want it to before I make the step forward. We don't know what's going to happen. We just have to allow ourselves to go through the experience. We truly, and how do we know that the vision that we have in our minds of the way we want things to work out is what we're actually going to be okay with in the end? We don't. So for us to try and have our grip on things to that degree is not healthy, okay? And that's something that I had to learn for myself too. And it was really difficult. And I had to allow myself to feel the epitome of fear and anxiety. But after a while, you're like, you know what? What the hell? I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm getting myself all tense, my blood pressure's going up. After a while, you really do get tired of it. And at some point of feeling that way, you surrender it. And you're like, whatever happens, happens. Because you just get so tired of it. But the only way we're going to learn that is through going through the experience. Now, granted, I feel that people that are readers, like myself, are beneficial because they do give you some insight and they can provide you some clarity. But I do feel like it's important that we are also able to heal. And I think that an important part of healing is what I just talked about. Okay, it's allowing ourselves to be present in every experience and in every moment. Okay, if we're present with ourselves and we're present with our experience, that's actually a very important part of our healing process. Okay, because when we're present with ourselves, we can be clear on what we're feeling. We can get some insight on where that's coming from, so we have to really start digging in deeper. Okay, because what I've noticed with this work is that people would rather have information than the healing. Like, they just want to know that, okay, is this safe? Is it safe to do this? Not understanding that if you heal, and healing is a process, it takes years and years and years and years, lifelong, that if you commit to your healing process, you won't need to go through that. You won't need to go to someone to, make sure everything's in order first, okay, before you take the next step. You'll have spirit guiding you. You'll have your intuition guiding you, which is spirit, So I feel like healing is really important because when we heal, we change our perception of ourselves and our reality, and we can navigate through the world differently. And what it does is that it puts us in a place where it brings long-term change, okay? So, we have to realize that living through this kind of like, well, let me get past this fear that everything's not going to be okay. Well, here's the next one. Let me get past this fear that not everything's going to be okay. We have to bring ourselves into a space where we can start empowering ourselves, start empowering ourselves and putting ourselves in a position of, let's say, regardless of what happens, I'll be able to handle it and I'll be okay. You don't even necessarily need to be spiritual for that, okay? That could just be trusting in yourself, trusting in the process, trusting in life. A lot of us have a trust issue, and I know because I've been there. Okay, still working on my stuff, but I've developed a great deal in that area. Okay, so I feel like healing is really important. And I just brought this up because over the years, that's just what I've noticed is that people want the insight, but they don't want the healing, and it hurts me because I want to help people to heal. I want to help people see their potential, and I want people to understand, if they are interested in understanding their spiritual nature, I want people to see how powerful they are in terms of, their ability to influence their reality through their thoughts, through their beliefs, through their feelings, through the way, just through their entire being. All of that influences the world that you live in. So, it hurts a bit because I really do want to help people, but in order for you to help people, if you're in this position too, people have to be willing to want to help themselves. And you can't force that. you can't force people to be in that position. They just have to get to a point where they're ready to heal. They're ready to start being empowered in their spiritual nature. And I feel for the development of the people on this planet, healing is so important. And I feel like it's important for people to be who they are. But I feel we need more healing energy. We need more of that. We need more people that are out there and wanting to help and support people in their healing journey and their journey of empowerment. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have enough people giving psychic insight. Because I mean, like I said, it can serve some benefit, but it's not the most important thing, okay? After a while, I feel like I've gotten to a point, it's like, why do you need to know that? Like, why is this information so important? Why do you need to know that? You know? I get it, but I want to help, and I try to meet people where they're at, but I also want to help bring people to the next level. Like, okay, you know, let's go to the next stage of your development. Are you ready? If you're not, that's fine. You know, I'm not gonna force you into it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it's been on my mind, and I think it's primarily because I'm entering more into a stage where my healing work is the center focus. And I've always healed, but I noticed that through the years, you know, that area hasn't gotten as much attention. And it's a shame, but, you know, I do hope that it changes, and I hope things continue to evolve for everyone. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. What time is it? Oh, wow, okay. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. And I hope that this has been helpful to you in some way. I will see you around for the next live. I'll probably be going live again in the next few days. So I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.